The price of eggs are making your wallet a little bit lighter. You're not alone. A bird flu outbreak has led to a nationwide average of $4.15 a dozen. This is leading some to consider raising chickens in their own backyard. Here to tell us more about raising poultry, we have Greg Archer, a professor with Texas A&M's Poultry Science Department. Thank you so much for joining us today.
No problem.
All right, so keeping chickens in your backyard, it may sound easy, but it really isn't. It's not like having a dog or a cat. Where should people start if they are wanting to, maybe if they're just considering keeping poultry as pets, essentially?
I mean, we always tell people you should obviously do your background. So we do some workshops. I do one, at least a virtual one, once a season, spring, fall. There's also lots of county agents around doing them. I help with those sometimes too. But going to information places like us at the Extension in the Poultry Science Department, asking questions, because as you said, it's not as simple as having a cat or dog. There's a lot to it.
Now, we know that HOAs play a big part in this. That's probably step number one, right, is to see if where you live actually allows you to have chickens.
Yeah, your HOA, even your city or town that you're in also may have limit that or limit the number and or type of bird. So like I believe here in College Station you're not allowed to have roosters in the city limits and things like that, and some people don't realize that.
Yeah, so certainly rules that you need to look into before you consider having chickens. So we know that right now, obviously, egg prices are very high, and we know that that's what's leading a lot of people to making what could be a snap decision. But do you think that keeping chickens, though, really would end up being more cost effective in the long run?
In the long run, probably not. We saw similar stuff happening in COVID, as we're seeing now when prices went up, or grocery store prices. People go out and think they can get chickens, but there's a lot more inputs that people don't think about. You may think, oh, well, I'm saving. Initially, it may seem less, but you're forgetting about the labor you're putting in, the supplies that you have to buy, the housing that you have to get. There's a whole lot of other stuff goes in the feed, all this stuff goes in there. And the reason that egg prices are what they are in the grocery stores is because they are raising, on some farms, 1 million chickens on one farm and can spread those costs out over all those chickens, where you only have half a dozen or so, or whatever, how many you have in your backyard, and you're doing all that. So I mean, generally I tell people if you want chickens, you're doing it more for your own satisfaction of the fun of it, or just because you want to know where your eggs came from.
Yeah, we know that there are other things that you need to be concerned about. You mentioned, feed, housing, I think is the biggest one. Happy chickens need happy housing, and they lay good eggs. But there are other pests and other things that come after your chickens. What are some things that you need to consider?
Yeah, a lot of people don't think about that. And it's one of the things we talk about in our workshops is you don't know what predators and what other pests are around until you get chickens. And then you figure out, I didn't know I had raccoons, possums, snakes, coyotes, wild pigs, anything all going to come to your house. You've never been there before, but now they smell the chickens, they smell the feed. You get more rodents, you get things like that. They're going to come around, bugs, all that stuff. So yeah, you have to think about that, how you're going to protect your chickens from those things, especially at night, because a lot of people don't think about that. Where you mentioned housing, how we're going to keep them secure, because even just putting a coop out there doesn't mean things are going to dig under or try and get to your chickens. And then people like to free range them during the day, and they don't think about hawks and things flying above that are going to also want to eat your chickens. So a lot of that you have to deal with. It's not, like I said, it's not just as easy as throwing your dog in the backyard. Most likely your dog's going to be okay, but walking around for an hour or two, your chicken, he's food on somebody else's menu. So.
Yeah. All right. So bird flu obviously is one of the reasons why this spike in egg prices has happened. Can bird flu spread if you have an infected bird in your backyard? Can it spread easily to the rest of your flock?
Yes. So generally what happens, and even commercially, if one bird tests positive, they depopulate the whole farm. And that's generally what will happen here. If you get even influenza, you should, if your birds are getting sick, if someone has a lot of sick birds, they should contact the health authorities in the state, the animal health authorities, because they'll come test your birds, make sure that if they have it or not. But they're going to want to probably get rid of all your birds too, because it spreads very easily to other chickens. Once one gets it, it's usually 90% of your birds are going to die within a few days. So it's a pretty deadly disease to poultry, unfortunately.
Yeah. You mentioned that you hold these workshops spring and fall. Next one that's coming up, when is that?
Hopefully end of March and early April. I haven't scheduled yet, but Perfect. I need to get on the time to schedule it, because it's that time of year. So
yeah, and I'm sure you're getting a lot of phone calls about, hey, what do I need to do to try and raise these chickens?
Yeah, if everybody going to do it. Feed stores are going to start having chicks for sale, so everybody's going to want to be out there starting getting their chickens. So
Yeah. All right, Greg Archer, a professor with Texas A&M's Poultry Science Department. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
appreciate it. No problem.